Imagine a world where mercy is a liability, where every act of compassion is a crack in the armor of power. Think of the rulers who fell not by the sword, but by their own unwillingness to strike first. What if the virtue we praise, forgiveness, is the very trap that ensures our downfall? This isn't just politics. It's the raw, unflinching truth of human nature. And today we'll descend into the mind of one of history's most ruthless philosophers, Niccolò Machiavelli, to uncover why forgiveness might be the most dangerous illusion of all. Because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you've been taught about morality, power, and survival. And the final revelation will force you to choose. Do you want to be loved, or do you want to win? Machiavelli, the Florentine strategist whose name became synonymous with cunning, wrote a warning disguised as advice. The prince must learn how not to be good. These words weren't born from cruelty, but from cold observation. He watched republics crumble, leaders betrayed, and empires lost, not to the strong, but to those who hesitated, who forgave too easily, who trusted the wrong hands with their throat. His philosophy wasn't about evil, it was about realism. The world, he argued, doesn't reward the kind. It rewards those who understand the rules of the game and play without apology. So let me ask you, when was the last time your mercy cost you more than it gained? When did your forgiveness become a weapon turned against you? Consider the Medici, the Borgias, the rulers who thrived not despite their ruthlessness, but because of it. Machiavelli saw them up close, men who slept soundly not because they were loved, but because they were feared. Fear, he wrote, is the only loyalty that never fades. Love is fickle. It bends with the wind of convenience. But fear is a chain welded to the bones, and yet we cling to the myth of forgiveness, to the idea that turning the other cheek is strength. But what if it's the opposite? What if every time you forgive a betrayal, you teach the world how to hurt you again? Let's strip away the moral pretense and confront the uncomfortable truth. Power isn't taken by the deserving, it's taken by the willing. The conquerors, the emperors, the survivors, they all share one trait. They knew when to close their fists. Machiavelli's warning isn't just for princes. It's for anyone who's ever been stabbed in the back by a friend, passed over for a promotion by a softer rival, or watched their kindness be mistaken for weakness. The question isn't whether you should forgive, it's whether you can afford to. But here's where the philosophy twists deeper. Machiavelli didn't advocate for mindless brutality. He preached calculated ruthlessness. The true master doesn't revel in cruelty. They use it like a surgeon's blade, precise, deliberate, only when necessary. The mistake isn't in being kind, it's in being kind when the moment demands steel. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been too generous with your forgiveness? Where have you confused nobility with naivety? And most importantly, what would happen if you stopped? This is just the beginning. Because the next layer of Machiavelli's philosophy reveals something even more unsettling, the art of strategic betrayal. When is it not only acceptable but necessary to break a promise, to abandon an ally, to let someone fall? The answer lies in the shadow of self-preservation, and it's waiting for you in the next step of this journey. The crowd cheers for the merciful king, but it's the tyrant who dies old in his bed. Why? Because mercy is a luxury, and luxuries are for those who can afford them. Machiavelli's Florence was a chessboard of shifting alliances, where today's friend was tomorrow's executioner. In such a world, forgiveness wasn't virtue, it was suicide. And though we like to think we've evolved, the rules haven't changed, only the disguises. The office, the courtroom, the battlefield of social status, all operate on the same primal logic. The strong dictate terms, the weak beg for fairness. Think of the CEO who fires loyal employees to save the company, the politician who betrays a promise to stay in power, The lover who walks away the moment they sense vulnerability. Are they monsters, or are they simply playing the game as it's always been played? Machiavelli would argue that morality is a story we tell to keep the masses docile, while the elite write their own rules. And yet, here's the paradox. The greatest players appear moral while acting otherwise. They master the illusion of virtue, because perception is power. So let me ask you directly, when have you sacrificed advantage for the sake of being good? When have you chosen the high road, only to watch others overtake you on the low? This isn't a call to abandon ethics. It's a demand to question them, to ask who benefits from your compliance. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: the world is divided into those who make rules and those who follow them. Which are you? And now the plot thickens. Because Machiavelli's most dangerous lesson isn't about cruelty, it's about timing. The difference between a strategic move and a blunder isn't the action itself, it's the moment you choose to act. For every Caesar who crossed the Rubicon, there's a Pompey who hesitated. For every ruler who crushed a rebellion, there's one who showed mercy and sparked a revolution. The next chapter will tear open the playbook of timing. When to strike, when to feign weakness, when to let your enemy think they've won, right before you take everything. The graveyards of history are filled with men who believed in second chances, who thought redemption was possible. But Machiavelli whispers a darker truth. Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers. Trust is a currency, and the moment you spend it, it's gone. So why do we keep buying the same lie? Why do we expect the betrayer to change, the opportunist to grow a conscience? The answer is hope, the most dangerous drug of all. Consider the story of Cesare Borgia, the prince who lured his enemies with promises of peace only to slaughter them at a banquet. Was he a villain? Or was he simply the only one honest enough to admit the rules? The world says it rewards goodness, but it obeys strength. And strength doesn't apologize, it doesn't explain, it acts. So here's the razor's edge. How much of your life is built on the hope that others will play fair? That karma exists? That the universe balances the scales? What if none of that is true? What if the only justice is the justice you enforce? Machiavelli forces us to confront the unthinkable. Maybe the meek won't inherit the earth. Maybe they'll just inherit the scraps left by the ruthless. But before you dismiss this as cynicism, consider the alternative. If forgiveness is weakness, what's strength? Is it cruelty? Or is it something far more nuanced? The ability to choose when to be merciless, to wield power without being consumed by it. The final layers of this philosophy reveal a path few dare to walk, a middle road between saint and butcher, and it's waiting for you, if you're willing to see it. And so we arrive at the final, unflinching question. What are you willing to sacrifice to survive? Machiavelli's answer was simple. Everything. Every scruple, every bond, every illusion of fairness. Because in the end, the world does not remember who was right, only who was left. Look around you. The thrones of history are not held by philosophers debating morality. They are held by those who understood one brutal truth. Power is never given. It is taken. But here's the paradox. They don't tell you. The true master doesn't revel in destruction. They control it. They know when to burn bridges and when to leave them standing, just long enough for others to cross first. This is the razor's edge. To be ruthless enough to win, yet wise enough not to become the monster you replaced. So ask yourself now, not as a student of philosophy, but as a player in the only game that matters. Where have you been too gentle? Where has your mercy become a leash around your own neck? And most importantly, what will you do about it? Because the lesson of Machiavelli is not a call to evil. It is a call to awakening, to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, to understand that forgiveness is not strength. It is surrender in disguise. The choice is yours. Will you cling to the virtues that make you weak, or will you grasp the power that has always been within reach? The game is waiting, and it does not forgive.